All right, students, I am glad that we have had a chance to already get through two of these reactions. We are now going to move on to the single replacement reaction. As you are already probably taking a peek onto the next one. So the type of reaction, single replacement, another way to call it is also a single displacement. So you'll hear some chemistry teachers say call it a replacement, some chemistry teacher calling it a displacement. Potato, potato, I say both, kind of go back and forth. So variable, the description for this one tends to get a little bit funkier. So we've used A, B. So in this case, we have A, B, or A, and then we also have C. So A plus BC is going to give us AC and B. And the way that I describe this one to students every year, which everybody kind of goes like, what? What, Miss Myriah, really? Okay, it's a little bit funky. So the way that I like to kind of describe this, bear with me, is let's say this is your friend A, and B is you, and C is your date. And the three of you decide to go to the prom, or you decide to go to a dance together. And then the music starts happening, and then what? Your friend takes your date, and then you are now single. I know it's kind of a weird way to remember it, but in this case, someone along the road ends up being single. I mean, I guess you could also say that this is your friend and their date, and you take their date. But along the way, someone's always single. So a way to describe this with words is one thing is swapping out with the other, one element is always single. So there's sometimes the element can also be an ion or a polyatomic ion. Those of you that have had a chance to learn about polyatomic ions, it can be that as well. But in this case, this is one way to remember single replacement. So the example that you're about to see in here in a moment is going to be some aluminum. Aluminum's that single friend. You together with your date would be copper 2 chloride. So here's copper. Copper would be you. Don't let that CL trick you to think it's a CI. That font looks like an I, but it is an L. So Cu, Cl2. And then aluminum swaps in there, steals your date, and makes a AlCl3. So again, you might know why it's AlCl3. But for now, please note, there's 2 here, there's 3 here. We're going to fix that in the next couple of units, or excuse me, the next couple of lessons. So then, you as copper you're now by yourself. So that's a demonstration you're about to see. It's a pretty cool demonstration. Yes, that means that you take aluminum foil, you dip it in some copper 2 chloride. Yes, you get copper out of it. You end up with making solid copper from this copper 2 chloride. So again, write down 2 or 3 things from the demonstration that you're about to take a peek at. All right.
All right, so in this demonstration, I'm going to show you a single replacement reaction. I'm going to use a unknown concentration of copper 2 chloride, and then I'm going to use a piece of aluminum foil to do this experiment. So I'm going to set you up so you can see that with a little bit of a white background back there. So I've got I've got a paper, and you've got a test tube that you can see. So I'm going to pour an unknown amount, probably around maybe 5 to 10 milliliters in that zone, into this test tube of the copper 2 chloride. And then I'm going to drop down this aluminum foil. So what you should already start to see even in these couple seconds, you can maybe start to see that there are some little tiny bubbles. I don't have the best camera, but some little bubbles that are forming on that aluminum foil. What's happening right now as you are watching this is there is a replacement of the aluminum to get the copper. So I have another version of this. So if we were to wait a couple days, you would see this. So this is what it looks like after a couple days. If I was to let that in there, it is not the quickest reaction. So you'll see there's no longer any copper ions in that solution. Remembering that copper ions in solution are this turquoise color. So this now is aluminum chloride, and I've now made some solid copper. So this has the copper in it still, but now it's forming as a solid in there. So that is a single replacement reaction.